Okay, today we're going to review solving multi-step equations. The majority of you learned this last year in your 7th grade pre-algebra class. I just wanted to do a video to go over the steps in case you've forgotten. Typically what you have to do with multi-step is you have to simplify one or both sides of the equation, and usually that involves combining like terms or doing the distributive property. Then once you've made each side as simple as possible, then you do the inverse operation to isolate the variable, and we do that in the reverse order of the order of operations. For example, in this problem, notice that on the left hand side we have like terms. I have 8 cats minus 3 cats. That gives me 5 cats, or 5x. Everything else stays the same, so I'm just dropping it down. Now, I want to get this x by itself. So the first thing I need to do is I have to get rid of this minus 10. If you remember the story from last year, these are best friends. They're attached at the hip. This is an acquaintance. Best friends are ready to tell some secrets, so the acquaintance needs to go to the other room. So to get rid of a minus 10 or a negative 10, I have to do the inverse or the opposite operation to both sides to keep my equation balanced. These two are called additive inverses. When I add them, they give me 0, so that's why we cross them out. Whatever's left, I bring down. Over here, I follow the rules for addition, which say I'm adding, my signs are the same, so I add, keep the sign. Now, best friends need to break up. I need to break up multiplying by 5. The opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. And if you remember last year, this was best friends are fighting over a boy, so they break up. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so that leaves me 1x. Remember, in algebra, we don't write the 1 as the coefficient. That is understood. And then 30 divided by 5 is simply 6. And don't forget the check it, where you plug the 6 back into the original equation and then make sure the left side is equal to the right side, and you can do that on your graphing calculator by doing 8 times 6 minus 3 times 6 minus 10, enter, and then make sure that that result was 20. Okay, in this example, we first must see what's on the left-hand side. So I notice that I have this distributive property happening. So I need to figure out what's actually over here before I start moving things. So I'm going to multiply all that by 2x. Remember, multiply both things by 2x. That's a common mistake, is to only multiply the first thing. It goes to both. That's why I do the arrows. Then it's like the previous one. I have like terms. Best friends are going to tell secrets, so the acquaintance needs to leave. Additive inverse. Best friends are breaking up because they're fighting over a boy. And again, I could plug this into my graphing calculator to check my answer. Sometimes we can make our problem a little simpler by multiplying by a reciprocal. If I do the distributive property here, I'm going to end up with a mess. What am I going to end up with? I'm going to end up with 9/2 x plus 15/2 equals negative 24. Well, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I don't like dealing with fractions. So if I can avoid them, I do. So a little trick is to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, and the reciprocal of this, because this is what we have to get rid of, this multiplying by 3/2 times this sum. So the reciprocal of 3/2 is 2/3, so I'm going to multiply both sides by that. Here, 2/3 times 3/2 gives me 1. So that is basically 1 times this. If I distribute the 1, it doesn't do a thing, so I'm left with 3x plus 5. Here, I can do negative 24 times 2 divided by 3, or I could do taking some factors out. I could take a factor of 3 out. and this would give me 8. Now I have negative 8 times 2 gives me negative 16, and on the bottom I would have 1 times 1, which is just 1. We don't need it. Okay, best friends break up or get rid of adding 5 by subtracting 5. Rules of addition say my sign's the same and I'm adding, so I add, keep my sign. And best friends are going to break up. And then again, I would plug this into my graphing calculator to confirm that the left-hand side actually equals negative 24. Now, you have to be careful when you use this property, because there are times when you can't use it, or you have to be careful in your use of it. If I had my problem look like this, okay, notice how this is different than what I began with. Notice over here, this product is all by itself on one side. Here, the product is not by itself. There's this addition of 6. So before I multiplied by the reciprocal, I would move the 6 over, then allowing this product to be by itself, allowing me to multiply by reciprocal. Or you'll see in class that sometimes I will go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal. Let me change my pen color so that you can see a little bit. So if I was just going to leave this the way it is, I would multiply that by 2/3. I would multiply that by 2/3. And basically I have to multiply all terms by 2/3. Okay, so if I was not going to isolate this product, I would have to multiply all the terms by the 2/3. That confuses a lot of algebra students. There are different properties that explain why you have to do this. At this point though, I would just say just do this, multiply by all terms, or only use it when the product is by itself. Okay, I want you to do these two on your own, and then check your answers. Okay, notice I tried to trick you with this -2. Remember, you have to distribute the -2. That gives you the -2x and the +10, combine like terms, and then solve your two-step equation. Remember, check your work. Here, I have a product. It's isolated. There's nothing else on the same side, so then I can multiply both sides by -5/4. Over here, the way I dealt with this was I found factors that were like 4 goes into 4 and 4 goes into 28. So then that left me with 7 times -5. That gave me that. And then remember, in algebra, it is okay to leave your answer as an improper fraction. This is the way I want it. This helps you in checking your answers. If this was a word problem, then yes, you may need to change this into a mixed number or something else. But from day to day, for me, an improper fraction is a perfectly good answer. Okay, look at 3.3 in your textbook if you need more help.